Hi Year 5. Today we're looking at the physical geography of the Middle East. What is physical geography? Well, physical geography comes from the word physika in Greek, which means natural. Physical geography is the geography pertaining to the natural world, and that includes things like mountains. Just behind me you can see the mountain of Mount Olympus. It also includes forests and rivers and lakes and valleys, anything that is created naturally and not by humans. Now, the Middle East is a very diverse area of the world, and we see lots of different features of physical geography here. As I already pointed out to you before, we have things like mountains. Up there you can see Mount Olympus. We also have forests and fields, and if you look down here, there's even a river with running water. But outside of places like Cyprus, the physical geography is even more interesting. Let's take a look at what we can find in the Middle East.
I don't think I've ever seen a desert quite as vast.
You'll be bored of that view in about an hour.
The Arabian Desert is the fifth largest desert in the world. It's nearly 1 million square miles in area. It is an empty space of sand where it's too hot for plants to grow. The Middle East, despite being one of the hottest regions of the planet, is also home to some huge rivers. The Euphrates River is the largest river in Western Asia. It leads to highly fertile plains good for growing crops and a large range of biodiverse creatures. The Euphrates River was so important that it led to the expansion and development of some of the most important historical civilizations. The Middle East is also home to an interesting range of bodies of water. Here you can see the Gulf of Aden, which is a sea in Saudi Arabia. However, there are also freshwater bodies of water, lakes, things like the Red Sea and the Dead Sea. There are also some prevalent mountain ranges in the Middle East. Here you can see the Zagros Mountains of Iran. Mountains are really important as they change the climate, they make it cooler and more likely for precipitation to appear in the form of rain. This leads to fresh drinking water and also the development of other interesting physical geographical features such as forests.
The types of forests, as determined by the environmental conditions in the kingdom, are as follows. Mountain forests, where average rainfall ranges between 250 to 450 millimeters per year, including juniper forests in highlands over 2,000 meters above sea level, while the wild olive trees predominant in the middle altitude mountains between 1,500 and 2,000 meters. But at lower altitudes, 1,000 to 1,500 meters, acacia trees dominate. Forest mountains cover an estimated area of 977,000 hectares. Semi-warm forests are scattered in the valleys and slopes west of the Sarawak Mountains into Hama Plains and cover an area of about 130,000 hectares. Among the most important species are acacia, ziziphus, dum palms, and arak trees. Valleys and drainage areas. Forests and woodlands grow on valley banks or in drainage areas and have an estimated area of about 900,000 hectares. The most important tree species and shrubs are acacia, ziziphus, tamarix, arak, lycium, and Haloxylon persicum, alghada. Mangrove forests spread in many tidal areas on the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf Coast and consist mainly of Avicennia marina and Rhizophora mucronata species. Mangroves cover an estimated area between 3,000 to 6,000 hectares and play an important role in the reproduction of many fish species and in the sustainability of marine and coastal ecosystems. Despite the low percentage of forest cover in the kingdom, 1%, but the area of 2 million hectares is very important in a country where the desert climate prevails.
There is a very close relationship between physical geography and climate zones. Now, climate zones appear around the globe in rings, a little bit like the ones you see on this diagram. The closer to the equator, the hotter the climate, leading to tropical regions and arid desert regions. This is because the sun's rays and energy are focused more intensely for a longer period on these areas. However, other factors can also affect climate zones. This can include proximity to bodies of water, up areas of high altitude, which changes and regulates air pressure, having an effect on the temperature and the amount of precipitation. The polar climate zone is located at the Arctic and Antarctic ends of the globe. The climate here is extremely cold for most of the year. Summers are short and cold, and winters are long, cold, and very dark. The temperate climate is home to some of the best weather in the world, and it's found in areas with a temperate or a warm climate. They have warm, wet, hot summers and cold winters, and these areas get moisture in both summer and winter, averaging about 50 to 60 inches annually. In the arid or desert climate zones, there are extreme temperatures, including hot days and cold nights. There's also such a thing as a cold desert, but these are found further from the equator than the arid or the desert zones. The geographical location of arid climate areas are near the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. Desert and arid climate zones are found all around the globe, and some of these areas are in the Middle East. Tropical climates are also found near the equator. Here there are no winters, and the average monthly temperature is above 18 degrees Celsius. Precipitation can exceed 200 centimetres a year. There are two types of tropical climate zones. There is a wet tropical climate zone and a dry tropical climate zone. There's also a Mediterranean climate zone found around the Mediterranean Sea. This includes the climate of Cyprus. Here, summers are hot and dry. We have fairly rainy winters, and the plant life includes a lot of Mediterranean brush. In these countries, we have enough water from the winter to hold us for the dry summers.